Alright guys, welcome back, and in this one we're going to be going over the main game loop, and also we're going to be calculating delta time. So if you don't know what delta time is, it is a variable that essentially allows your game to run at the same speed no matter what the frame rate is. So whenever we move our object, we're going to move the distance that we move that object by this delta time that we calculate to make sure that our game runs at the same speed on all systems. So first we'll just start by creating a boolean named run game and setting it to true. And then we're just going to create our while loop here. And it's just going to say while run game, and then this while loop is our main game loop. So obviously here we need to update the game, and we also need to render the game, and then at the end of the loop we need to recalculate delta time. So now let's create a new class called FPS, and then just click finish. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a private constructor. So a private constructor makes it where it's impossible to instance the class without Java throwing an error, and we don't want anyone instancing our FPS class. So first we're going to be creating 4 variables. The first one is going to be called FPS delta time, and it's going to be of type duration. So obviously we needed to import the duration class. We're going to make another duration called last time. We're going to make an instant called begin time. We're going to set begin time to instant.now. And then we're going to create our actual delta time, which is going to be a double. And then we're just going to set delta time to the FPS delta time minus the last time. We have to convert it to milliseconds. And again, we just set this to subtract by last time, which we also have to convert to milliseconds. So now we've initialized our 4 variables that we need to keep up with delta time. We're going to make a method now called calc begin time, and this basically just sets up our variables to start calculating delta time. And inside this method, we're just going to be setting begin time equal to now. And we're going to set FPS delta time to duration.0. Okay, so that's how we do that. Now we can actually create a method to calculate the delta time. So we're going to be making another method called calc delta time. And now we can actually calculate delta time by setting it equal to the begin time minus now. We do that by typing FPS delta time equals duration.between. Remember the begin time and instant.now. And that's how we do that. Now to set our delta time, we need to subtract the last delta time minus this delta time. So to get the delta time now, we need to subtract this delta time minus the previous delta time. That way they don't keep adding up. So we do delta time equals, and we're going to convert it to a double, FPS delta time to millis minus last time to millis. And that's how we actually get the value of delta time. And now we need to actually reset the last time to this time. We do that by saying last time equals FPS delta time. And that's it for calculating delta time. Now we're just going to create a method to return the delta time. So to do that, we're just going to say public static double get delta time. And then inside here, we're just going to return delta time. But we actually want delta time as a fraction in seconds, so we're going to divide it by 1000. We do that because originally it was in milliseconds and we want it in seconds. So that's all for the FPS class. We can now go back to the entry class, and we can now implement this in our main game loop. So we do this by calling FPS calc begin time, and then here we can just calc delta time. And now we're done implementing our calculate delta time class. And just to show that it's working, we can just print the delta time to the screen. And as you can see, we're printing it to the screen, but a lot of times we get the number 0. That's just because our game loop is so fast that it doesn't even have a number to represent it. So what we'll do to slow it down is we're going to add a for loop here. So I created a for loop that prints 10,000 times, and it just prints a blank space and then returns a line. So if we run the program now, you can see that we actually get values for delta time now. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all this code here because it's just not necessary. So anyway guys, that's it for this one. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.